स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नितिनामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. So welcome everyone. So we have completed 4 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam and we were discussing the 5th canto, and we saw how there is a discussion going on between Vidura and Maitreya, the 3rd and 4th canto. That is a Maitreya Vidura Samvad, and we discussed that in detail. And in that we saw how Maitreya Muni, he described the dynasty of Swayambhuva Manu, starting from the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu, that is Devahuti, how she got married to Kardam Muni and how she begot uh, 9 daughters, and then one son, that was Kapiladev. And we heard the instructions of Kapiladev to Mother Devahuti. That was the end of, and then we discussed how Devahut and Prachetas, and we discussed how Prachetas, they met Lord Shiva and how Lord Shiva showed mercy on them. And in this way, after hearing all that, Vidura departed for Hastinapur after completion of all this discussion. That was the end of the 4th canto. So in the beginning of the 5th canto, Shukdev Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj asked Shukdev Goswami, because Shukdev Goswami told that Priyavrat, although he was renounced, he was living with Narad Muni at his ashram. Still, he entered the household life and he ruled the kingdom for many, many years. So Shukdev Goswami asked in the beginning of the 5th canto, why Priyavrat, who was a pure devotee, was already a renounced person, detached, how he entered family life. In response to this, Shukdev Goswami described the whole dynasty and the activities of Priyavrat Maharaj. And as you can see in this slide, Priyavrat Maharaj married Bhareshmati and one more lady. From Bhareshmati, he had 10 sons: Agnidra, Idmajabahu, Yagyabahu, Hiranyareta, Ghritaprishta, Medhatithi, and Vitihotra. And then wonderful activities of Priyavrat Maharaj were described, how he created another sun and he ruled this universe for 11 Arbuda years. That means 110 crore years. That's how long duration Priyavrat Maharaj ruled this universe. And then he enjoyed with his wife Bhareshmati, because he was not so much happy by the movement of the sun, he created another sun. He became the other sun, and he traveled on the other side of the Meru mountain, lighting all the other parts of the Bhumandala which were not getting the light of the sun. And that is how the wonderful activities of Priyavrat Maharaj were described. That's what we discussed. And then we discussed in the 2nd chapter that one of the sons of Priyavrat Maharaj, his name was Agnidra. So Agnidra, he was born from Priyavrat Maharaj when he was very lusty. So that's why Agnidra, although he was born from a pure devotee, he was attached to karma kandi rituals. And then he was doing tapasya of Brahmaji to get all these enjoyment, and he wanted to go to Pitrilok. In response to that, we saw how Purvachitti, she came, and Agnidra, he was very much attracted by the beauty of Purvachitti. He describes the beauty of Purvachitti, and then he marries Purvachitti, and then from Purvachitti, he begot many sons. One of the sons was King Nabhi, and that is what we'll discuss today. That is the third chapter, that is the which is entitled as Rishabdev's appearance in the womb of Meru Devi, the wife of King Nabhi. So that is the third chapter which we'll start discussing today. So Nabhi, he is the son of Agnidra, and he worshipped Lord Vishnu for a son. So Nabhi, he was the first son of Agnidra, and he desired to have a son from his wife Meru Devi, because they both were without any children. So he worshipped the Supreme Lord, and that Supreme Lord is called Yajna Purusha. So then Shukadeva Goswami describes that there are 7 means to attain the mercy of the Lord in a sacrifice. First of all, you should have a proper ingredient, that is dravya. You should do the yajna at a right place, desha, at a proper time, kala, with proper mantras, with all the hymns. The priest should be very, very authentic and bona fide. And of course, in any sacrifice, charity should be given. That is the dakshana. And 7th is the vidhan. That means the regulative principles. So if somebody does all these 7 things, then of course the Lord appears in the yajna. But then Shukadeva Goswami says that this is not the actual reason for Lord's appearance. Why Lord appears? Because Lord is Bhagavat Vatsalya. Because Lord is very, very affectionate to his devotees, that's why Lord appears. Because only by devotion Lord is conquered. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tattvataha. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Only by devotional service somebody can know me. And then when the Lord appeared, because of all these ingredients which were at the right place, and Nabhi and Meru Devi, they were very, very devoted to the Lord. So Lord appeared. And the beautiful form of the Lord is described. The form of the Lord was unconquerable, captivating to the eyes, and it was very, very pleasing to the mind. That is the beauty of the Lord. Ruchirekshanaha. Ruchirekshana means Lord is very pleasing to look at. That is the pleasure of the mind. That is Manaso Mahotsavam. In this world, we are so much attracted. Our mind and senses are attracted to so many things and the objects of the world. But if we get attracted, if we see the beauty of the Lord, then we will not be attracted to any other beauty of this world. That's why Rupa Goswami writes he has compiled a book that is called Padyavali. In that book, and in the Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu also, it is described, if you are still attached to your family, friends, relatives, your wealth, property, then please don't go to the bank of Keshi and see the beautiful form of Krishna who is standing there. Because if you go and see the form of Krishna, you will lose all your attachment. That is called Vyajastuti. Actually, the author is saying you should go and see the form, but he's saying in an indirect way. Smeram bhangi tay parichitam sacha vistirna drishtim vamshinyastadhara kishalayam ujjvala chandrakena govindakhyam haritanumitaha keshitirthopakanthe ma prekshisthastav yadi sakhe bandhu sange stirangah. Smiram Bhangi, Krishna is standing, Krishna who is known as Govinda is standing in the threefold bending form on the banks of Keshi. If somebody sees that form, then all the attachment for worldly things will go. So that is the beauty of the Lord, the form of the Lord which appeared. It was very, very attractive. And when Lord appeared, he appeared to fulfill the desires of his devotees. That is the only purpose for the appearance of the Lord. Lord appears in this world in the form of the deities, in the form of avatar, in the form of book, Bhagavat. Lord appears to attract the devotees. And when somebody gets this form of the Lord in his mind, he does not want to acquire anything. As Bhagavad Gita says, Yam labdhva cha param labham manyate nadhikam tataha. Whoever gets the Supreme Lord, he does not want to get anything in his life. So then Shukadeva Goswami describes the beauty of the Lord who appeared. He was wearing a yellow silken garment, he was having a helmet, he was having Shrivatsa on his chest, he was holding conch, then disc, club, and he had a beautiful garland, he had a kaustubh gem around his neck, he was wearing beautiful, very shining shark-shaped earrings, bangles, anklets, everything, very beautiful. So when all the priests and the king and the queen, they saw the Lord, they immediately got up and offered their full obeisances, and they felt as if a poor person has obtained the great riches. If you see, if you give a beggar 1,000 or 1 lakh rupees, his joy will not know any bounds. So that was the condition of Nabhi and Meru Devi. They immediately fell flat, offered obeisances. And all the priests, they came, they started offering prayers. So the priests, they offer beautiful prayers. They say, "Oh my Lord, we are your servants. Please accept our obeisances. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And you are the most worshipable. Arhat Tamaha. Arhat Tamaha means you are the most worshipable. You are the supremely worshipable Lord. You are transcendental. You are beyond the 3 modes of material nature. And nobody can understand you, my Lord, by experimental knowledge. And all the scientists and all the people, they are doing so much of research to understand what is the beginning of the creation. Who is that power who created? And that's why they come out with so many theories, because they can't understand the transcendental Lord. And then they say, "Oh my Lord, chanting your glories is so auspicious that it wipes out all the sins from the heart of a living entity." Bhagavatam says, "Pravishtakarna randhrena swanam bhava saroruham dhunoti shamalam Krishna salilasya yathasharat." When the sound vibration enters the ears, then all the contamination which is there in the heart gets completely vanquished. Then they say, "Oh my Lord, what is the way to satisfy you?" They say, to satisfy you is not so difficult. Just by offering beautiful prayers and offering tulsi leaves, water, and some twigs bearing new leaves and flowers and newly grown grass, you are pleased. Prabhupada writes a very nice purport here. Prabhupada writes, one does not need great wealth or riches and opulence to satisfy the Supreme Lord. If one is absorbed in love and devotion, he need offer only a flower and a little water. And he quotes a verse which Advaitacharya, he would recite. Tulasi jalamatrena jalasya chulukena va vikrinite swamatmanam bhaktebhyoho bhaktavatsalaha. Tulasi dalamatrena. So Advaitacharya, he would offer tulsi leaves on the Shaligram Shila and offer Ganga water. Jalasya chulukenva. Chuluken means in just the cup of the hand, whatever jal is you can take. That is sufficient if you offer to the Lord. Vikrinite. Lord becomes purchased by that devotion. So therefore, we have to understand, when we offer prayers, we have to offer heartfelt prayers to the Lord. Lord is very, very eager to hear our prayers. That is the purpose of appearance of the Lord. There are 3 components of a prayer. Samprarthanatmika, Dainya Bodhika, and Lalasamai. These are the 3 types of prayer a sadhaka should offer. Samprarthanatmika means we have to glorify the Lord. You see in the Bhagavatam, every time when a devotee goes to the Lord for protection, he first glorifies the Lord. He starts offering beautiful prayers, glorifying the various opulences of the Lord, even when his life is in danger. We saw in the first canto of Bhagavatam, in Arjuna, he was faced with Brahmastra of Ashwatthama. He recites beautiful prayers to glorify Krishna, and then he says, "Oh my Lord, I don't know from where this light is coming. I am becoming fearful. Please protect me." That is Samprarthanatmika, glorifying the Lord. Then Dainya Bodhika, we have to offer our fallen condition. "Oh my Lord, I am so very fallen. I have so many anarthas. Please purify me." And then Lalasami, we have to pray for some benediction. "Please give me taste for chanting. Please give me taste for Srimad Bhagavatam." That is the prayer we have to offer. So the priest says, all these priests, they say, "It is not so easy. It's not so difficult to satisfy you, my Lord. You are pleased by simple things. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti uparitam ashnami prayatatmanha." Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. And then after saying this, priests, they become regretful. They become regretful thinking that they are without devotion. Although they said, if somebody offers all these things with devotion, "You are pleased to my Lord." But then they think, we are not qualified. We don't have any devotion. So they say, you have no need for any elaborate arrangements for worship. Anybody can uh, offer you simple thing and you are pleased because you are self-satisfied. You don't need any external things. Prabhupada writes that Srila Rupa Goswami says that if one is offered variety of food but he has no appetite, then the offering has no value. We may offer huge variety of things to the Supreme Lord, but the appetite is created by the devotion. Lord accepts the devotion which is there in the offering. If the offering has no devotion, then Lord will not accept it. Rukha shaka vidura ghar khayo, Duryodhan ko bhogana bhayo, Rukha shaka vidura ghar khayo. That is a very beautiful bhajan. When Lord was offered huge chappan bhoga by Duryodhana, Lord did not go to his place, but he accepted simple offering from the home of Vidura. That is how Lord is. He is called Bhava Grahi. Then the priests, they say, but we need all these, offering because we require some material benedictions. You don't want anything. When you are coming here, you are not in need of anything. But we need, that should be the understanding of every devotee or every person. When we offer something to the Lord, it is not that, when we are offering things or some food, Lord is hungry, "Arey, abhi tak bhuk nahi laga hai, mere ko, I am hungry." Radharani is cooking every day and she has not repeated a single dish since the time immemorial, eternity. So thousands and thousands of gopis and in Vaikuntha, all the Lakshmis, they are ready to serve the Lord. Lord is not in need of our bhoga. He is in need of our devotion. That is the only thing which Lord does not have, our devotion, our free will. So therefore, these priests, they say, we are offering you worship because we need, but they say we need some material benedictions. Although you have come, even though we have worshipped you without proper knowledge, but still you have come by your mercy. Prabhupada writes, Lord has many millions of temples for his residence and it does not need our attempt. He does not require any opulent activity at all. Such engagement is meant for our benefit. Somebody came to Prabhupada. Prabhupada was doing a press conference and one reporter asked, "Swamiji, why are you doing conference in such a big hotel?" He was doing in a very posh hotel. So he was saying that you are a sadhu. Sadhu are supposed to live in a simple setting. So Prabhupada said, "Yes, I can go and speak under a tree. Will you come?" I am arranging this in a huge posh hotel so that people are attracted to. All this arrangement, beautiful offerings, and all the worship which we are doing, it is for our benefit. When we offer food to the Lord or we offer anything to the Lord, we get purified and offerings get purified. 10th Canto of Srimad Bhagavatam describes how various things are purified. Kalen snana shauchabhyam samskarais tapsejjaya shuddhyanti dani santushtya dravyani atmatma vidyaya. So this verse says, in due course of time, just like in the rainy season, all the trees and the plants and all the mountains, they are purified. Kalen, in due course of time. Snan, the body gets purified by taking bath regularly. Snana shauchabhyam. Samskara, samskar purifies the birth. Jata samskar, then before that Garbhadan samskar, Jata samskar, Namakaran samskar, Upanayam samskar, all these samskaras, they purify the birth. Samskara, tapasejjaya, tapasa, the body becomes purified by tapasya. Ijjaya, ijjaya means worship. When we offer things to the Lord, the articles get purified. Dravyani, dravya gets purified by ijjaya. And how does mind become purified? Santushtya, mind becomes satisfied, mind becomes purified by satisfaction, and the soul becomes purified by Atma Vidyaya, by the knowledge of the self. So then somebody may say, if the Lord does not need anything, then why does he appear? So the priests, they say, you have appeared here just to serve our interest. You have appeared here to give us liberation in the form of realization of your glories. So they say, you have done so much for us, although we are ignorant, we are foolish, we are like a child, although we have not worshipped you properly, but still out of your causeless mercy, you have appeared. So Prabhupada writes that Lord, out of his mercy, he appears as Archa Vigraha. Archa Vigraha is the most merciful form of the Lord. Pratima nahi tumi sakshat Prajendra Nandan. So that is the merciful nature of the Lord. That is the purpose of the deities. The deities are there to accept the prayers of the devotees. But then the Lord might have said, okay, in any case, just ask for a benediction. Okay, whatever may be the case, you may, even though you are not pure in your motives. But when I come, it is my nature to give benediction. So please ask. So the priests, they say, your appearance is the greatest benediction for us, O my Lord. Just because you have appeared, you are the best of all the benefactors. You are Varada Rishabhaha. You are the best of the givers of benediction. Your appearance in front of us is the most valuable benediction which you have given us. So therefore, Prabhupada writes in the purport, Krishna's appearance is for the deliverance and satisfaction of the devotees. Chandrika Vishadasmirai Saruna Panga Vikshataihi Swakarsha Swakarthana Mivarajaha Satvabhyam Srishtipalakai. Brahmaji is praying. He says, oh my Lord, he's praying to Lord Krishna after Brahma Vimohan Leela. He says, Chandrika Vishadasmire. When we take darshan of the Lord, the glance of the Lord creates the desire for service. And the smile of the Lord gives satisfaction to the devotees. That is the smile which devotees are hankering for. If Lord smiles at us, that is the greatest satisfaction of a devotee. We have experienced when we serve some great devotee and they just give a very satisfactory smile. That is a success. We don't want anything else. The smile of on the face of a pure devotee is the greatest joy for anyone. So, feeling obliged, the priests, they pointed out that the rarity of the Lord's personal appearance is unimaginable. We cannot even imagine. The Lord himself has appeared. Even great sages cannot have darshan of the Lord. And they say, my Lord, your darshan is so very rare. When you appear in front of anyone, it creates greatest bliss. Parama Mangala Ayana, your face creates a ocean of ecstasy in the heart of a devotee. And therefore, all the sages, great personalities, they are repeatedly glorifying your form, O my Lord. Just by appearing in front of you, appearing in front of us, you have burnt all our contamination. All the sinful reactions which are there in the heart of a devotee gets completely purified. So they are saying you have burnt all our contamination by the fire of knowledge and detachment. Asang nishit jnananal vidhuta shesh malana. They say, by the fire of knowledge and detachment, we have become purified. That is the glory of devotional service. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janayatiyashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayat Ahaitukam. When we practice devotional service, we have been thinking, but Lord never appeared in front of me, but Lord is there in front of us in the form of deities, in the form of Bhagavat. We are reading Bhagavat, hearing Bhagavat. That is the form of Krishna. That is the book Bhagavat. That is Krishna himself. We discussed that this whole Bhagavatam is a body of Krishna. Pado yadiyo, pratamo dutiyo, tritiya turyo, kathito yadoru. All the various bodily parts of Lord are compared to various cantos of Bhagavatam. Tamadi devam karunanidhanam tamalavarnam suhitavataram apara samsara samudra setu bhajamahe bhagavata swarupam. That Supreme Lord who is most merciful, karunanidhanam, having of complexion of a tamal tree, he has appeared in the form of Bhagavatam just to show mercy to everybody. So therefore the priests, they are saying, just by having your darshan, we have become very happy. You are self-satisfied. You are Atmaram. And therefore, even great sages cannot have your darshan. So your darshan is very, very rare. Then they say, oh my Lord, but please help us remember you and utter your names. It is so very difficult, and all of us have the experience how it is difficult to remember the Lord, chant the names of the Lord with attention, with seriousness. And they say, your names, your attributes, your pastimes, they destroy all our sins. For, they say, at the time of death, we may not be able to remember you. Therefore, please allow us to remember you at the time of death. King Kulakshekar Maharaj, he has spoken a very beautiful prayer. Krishna tvadiya pada pankaja panjarantam adyaiva me vishatu manasa rajahamsa prana prayana samaye kafavata pittai kantavarodhana vidau smaranam kutaste. He's saying, oh my Lord, now I am young, hale and hearty. Let me die immediately so that I can remember you. Otherwise, at the time of death, how it will be possible for me to remember you? Because at the time of death, my throat will be choked up with cough, vat and pitta. So that is the only desire of a devotee, that I should serve Krishna throughout my life, and at the end of life I should be able to remember Krishna. Prabhupada writes, the real success in life is Ante Narayana Smriti. If somebody can remember Krishna at the time of death, Etavan Sankhya Yoga Abhyam Swadharma Parinishthaya Janmalabha Parapumsan Ante Narayana Smriti. So this Narayana Smriti is the goal of all the various paths of spiritual life. So then they say that actually, although it is improper to ask, but still, we'll ask a benediction from you because it is required. And in doing so, they felt very ashamed. So they ask, oh my Lord, although we should not ask some material benediction, but still, this king, Nabhi, he desires a son like you, and that's why he is worshipping you. So please, although he is like a poor person who is asking few grains from a wealthy man, So Prabhupada tells a story, one time there was this old lady carrying a heavy weight on one of her shoulders. And she was praying to the Lord, oh my Lord, please help me. Lord appeared in front of her and she says, please. And Lord says, what do you want? So the lady says, please help me move this weight from this shoulder to the another shoulder. This is not the benediction you ask from the Lord. If you go to a billionaire, you don't ask for few rupees. That's what they are saying. So therefore, the priests, they reveal the reason for Nabhi's having a material desire. Why Nabhi had material desires? Very important. Why Nabhi could not ask for pure devotion? They say because he has not associated with pure devotees. So in the 14th verse, the priests, they say, unless one worship the lotus feet of devotees of the Lord, anupasita mahacharanaha, unless one surrenders and worships the lotus feet of the devotees of the Lord, one will never be able to conquer the unconquerable Maya. So therefore, it is very, very important to surrender and worship the devotees of the Lord. Paya manushya janma jena shune gaur gun hena janma tar birtha vaila. Paya amrit dhuni piye vishyagarth pani janmiya se kene nahi maila. If somebody does not hear the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, pastimes of Krishna, his life is a waste. So therefore, how it will be possible to hear about Krishna, hear about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? By being in association of devotees. Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastra Kai Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha. Just by being in touch with devotees for a moment. Mahat Kripa Bina Kona Karme Bhakti Nae Krishna Bhakti Dure Rahu Samsara Nahi Kshay. If somebody does not associate with devotees of the Lord, he cannot get bhakti in any life. Krishna Bhakti Dure Rahu. Forget about Krishna Bhakti. Samsara nahi kshay. He'll not get even liberation, impersonal liberation. As Prahlad Maharaj says, only by taking dust of the lotus feet of the devotees on your head, oh my father, you can have some hope. So then the priests, they say, please excuse us because we have committed offense by calling you for this negligible, materially motivated desire. But you are so very merciful that you have appeared. So Prabhupada writes, pure devotee never wants to see the Lord unnecessarily. He never engages Lord in his service. He always tries to serve the Lord. That is the pure devotional service. Anya bhilashita shunya. The only desire a devotee should have is to serve the Lord, unmotivated, ahayetuki, apratihata. So then, after hearing all these prayers of the priests, Lord becomes very pleased, and he starts speaking. Lord says, "O priests, you have prayed for King Nabhi to have a son like me, but I am the supreme person without a second. Nobody is equal to me. Any case, because you all are qualified Brahmanas, and you are as good as my own mouth. So that is the glory of Brahmanas. Supreme Lord, he respects and even worships the Brahmanas. And we discussed in the third canto, when four Kumaras, they entered the Vaikuntha, and Jaya Vijay, they did not allow four Kumaras to enter, and there was a argument which was happening. Lord Vishnu came out and he says that I am ready to lop off my arm if it is found hostile to a Brahmana or a devotee. He says, actually, why why I have become so strong and so powerful, I am so famous, because I put the dust of Brahmanas and the devotees on my own head. That's how Lord appreciates and worships the devotees. So he says that actually I am without a second, so I shall personally appear in my plenary portion. So speaking in this way, the Lord disappeared. And in due course of time, Lord appears as Rishabha Dev, as the son of Meru Devi. and by his activities, he satisfied everyone. In the form of Rishabdev, he wanted to exhibit two things. He wanted to exhibit the method of executing the Varnashram system. Secondly, he wanted to satisfy the desires of Maharaj Nabhi. So that is the third chapter. And then the fourth chapter is entitled as the characteristics of King Rishabdev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this chapter describes how Rishabdev, he produced 100 sons headed by Bharata, and by his activities and by his wonderful nature, he pleased and satisfied all the citizens. So Rishabdev, what were the qualities of Rishabdev? That is described by Shukdev Goswami. He says this Rishabdev, he was actually showing all the symptoms of the Supreme Lord. Abhivyajyamana. Abhivajyamana means he directly manifested all the qualities of the Supreme Lord. Even when he was born, everybody could understand that he is the plenary portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And as he grew, day by day, his qualities, his power, detachment, self-control, and equal vision to everyone, it increased. So therefore, because he was so very wonderful, having all the qualities, everyone wanted him to rule this earth. So that is the glory of Rishabdev. So Prabhupada writes, an incarnation of God has to be accepted by experienced people and not by the symptoms and not by the people who are ordinary. So therefore we see, in nowadays, in every another, lane or a road or a gully, you'll find somebody claiming himself to be God. Prabhupada writes, incarnation is not accepted simply by the adulation of foolish people. If few people, they come together and claim that this person is God. Somebody came to Prabhupada and said, Swamiji, my guru is God. Acha? Prabhupada said, why? Why are you saying like this? This person said, Swamiji, he stopped my addiction for drugs. Prabhupada said, then I am guru 100 of times. Look, there are so many of my disciples, they have given up all their addictions. So that is not the criteria. If some foolish person says, oh, this person is God, is it mentioned in the scriptures? Are the great acharyas, endorse that he is the Supreme Lord? Is he having the bodily features? There are 32 bodily features which should be there in the great personality. So then, King Rishabdev, he was showing all the qualities of the Supreme Lord. So this Nabhi, King Nabhi, his son was, when he was born, he named him Rishabha. What is the meaning of Rishabha? Rishabh means he is the best of human beings. Seeing the good qualities, he had a very well-built body and all the bodily features were very well defined. He had unparalleled prowess, strength, beauty. His fame and name and influence was unimaginable. He was so powerful, he was so famous, he was so strong that even Indra became envious of Rishabdev. And Indra, he stopped the rains. He did not reign in the kingdom of Rishabdev. But Rishabdev, he was Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. So by his own power, by his own internal potency, he started pouring rains all over his kingdom, which was called Ajnab. Ajnab means the kingdom of Nabhi. So this Bharat Varsha was formerly known as Ajnab Varsha because it was ruled by King Nabhi and his son. Aja means the son, born of Nabhi. Ajnabha Varsha. But then after Bharat Maharaj started ruling, it became known as Bharat Varsha. And we'll see who is Bharat Maharaj. So Nabhi, he was so very affectionate to his son. His Vatsalya, his love for his son became more and more every day, you know. And then he was so very blissful. He was always absorbed in thinking about his son, and his desire was completely fulfilled by having such a perfect son. Although he knew that he is Supreme Personality of God, my son is Supreme Lord, but still he was covered by a illusion of Yogamaya. Just like the Brajvasis. Brajvasis, they never ever feel that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. You know, that is a similarity between Brajvasis, the pure devotees, and atheists. Both never consider Krishna as God. So the Brajvasis, they are so very, loving to Krishna. They do not even imagine that he can be God. When somebody says, "Oh, look, he has done such wonderful activity. He has killed so many demons," and then they will say, "I think he's God." So Yashoda may say, Nanda Maharaj would say, what type of God he is? Whenever there is thunder, he goes and hides under the sari of his own mother, Yashoda. When he's hungry, he starts crying, he steals butter. Gopibhi stobito nrityat Bhagavan balavat kvachit udgayati kvachin mugdhas tadvasho daru yantravat. And the gopis, they would say, "Oh Krishna, if you dance, we'll give you this butter." And just like a doll, wooden doll, this Krishna, he would dance. So that is the glory of a pure devotee. So Nabhi, he never considered Rishabdev to be the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada writes, Nabhi was under Yoga Maya, transcendental illusion. So then, after some time, when Rishabdev was sufficiently grown up, he enthroned Rishabdev because he was so very popular among all the citizens, and he was able to give protection to all the citizens, and he was able to rule the kingdom according to the varnashram system. The Nabhi, after putting this Rishabdev on the throne, he retired along with Meru Devi, and they both went to Badarikashram. There at the Badarikashram, both King Nabhi and Meru Devi worshipped Lord Narnarayan, and in due course of time they attained Vaikuntha. So then the great sages, Shukdev Goswami says, the great sages, the old sages, they glorify Nabhi in two beautiful verses. They say Nabhi was such a father who can follow and attain the perfection of Maharaj Nabhi. Because of the devotional service, Nabhi, he attracted Supreme Lord to become his own son. And second glorification is, they would say about Nabhis, who can be the better worshipper of Brahmanas than Nabhi? He was such a great worshipper of Brahmanas because he worshipped all the Brahmanas to their full satisfaction. They showed him Lord Narayan. All the priests, we discussed how they invoked and they invited, they offered prayers to the Lord, and Lord appeared. Prabhupada writes a nice purport here. Prabhupada writes, unless one is a Vaishnava, he cannot call forth the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord does not accept an invitation unless one is a Vaishnava. Shatkarmani puno vipro mantra tantra visharadaha avaishnava gurur na syad vaishnava shopacho guruhu. Even if a Brahmana is well versed in all the Shatkarma, and is well versed in mantras and tantras, a Vaishnava gurur na syad, a person who is not a devotee cannot become a spiritual master. He cannot invoke the Lord. Vaishnava shopacho guruhu. But if somebody is a Vaishnava, even if he is born in the family of dog eaters, he is considered to be a guru. So Rishabdev, after he started ruling, actually before that, when he was a young person, he lived a ideal brahmachari life. He showed by his own action how a person should be a brahmachari in the early years of his life, and then he should get married and follow all the varnashram system, grihastha ashram. So he lived in Gurukula and he learned all the education, and then he gave Guru Dakshina to his teacher, and then he married Jayanti. Jayanti is the daughter of King Indra. And then he carried out all the ritualistic activities, and then he begot 100 sons. So somebody may ask, why Rishabdev followed all these varnashram duties? He is a supreme lord. He does not need to follow all these varnashram duties. Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, Yadi hi aham na varteyam jato karmanya tandritah mama vartamanu vartante manushyaha partha sarvasah. Krishna says, if I will not follow the path of religion, I will not follow the varnashram system, then mama vartamanu vartante, people will follow my path. And then the result will be what? Utsideyurime loka nakuryam karma chedaham sankarasya cha kartasyam upahanyamima praja. Utsideyurime loka. This whole world will go into ruination. People, they will not follow the path of religion, and then result will be sankarasya cha kartasyam. Then the result will be varna sankaraha, and I'll be the cause of all that. So therefore, although great devotees, they do not have anything to do with the varnashram system, but still they follow the rules and regulations just to set a right example. Apani achari prahu shikhaila sabare. So that is what Rishabdev was doing. So Rishabdev, he had 100 sons. Out of these 100 sons, 10 became Kshatriyas, although they all sons of Rishabdev were Kshatriya by birth. But by quality, some became Kshatriya, some became Brahmanas, and some became Mahabhagavatas. So the 10 sons became Kshatriyas. And the eldest among all the 100 sons was King Bharata. So King Bharata, he was a great exalted devotee of the Lord, and he had best of the qualities. And because of his activities, this whole Bhumandala became known as Bharata Varsha. And then he had 9 more sons who became Kshatriyas. Their name were Kushavarta, Ilavarta, Brahmavarta, Malaya, Ketu, Bhadrasena, Indrasprika, Vidarbha, and Kikata. So all these sons, they became the rulers of all the Varshas of Bhumandala. So King Bharat became the ruler of Bharata Varsha. Then the other nine sons, they became Mahabhagavatas. So Mahabhagavata means they became the greatest of the devotees of the Lord. Sarvabhuteshu yah pashyet bhagavad bhavannatmanah yena bhutanya sheshani esha bhagavatottamaha. That is a Uttama Adhikari devotee. That is called Mahabhagavat, the pure devotees of the Lord. So the 9 Navyogendras, they'll be described in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Their names are Kavi, Havi, Antariksha, Prabuddha, Pippalayan, Avirhotra, Drumila, Chamas, and Karbhajan. So they were very exalted, great devotees of the Lord, and they preached Srimad Bhagavatam. And then the remaining 81, they became qualified, well-cultured, well-behaved Brahmanas. Then Shukadeva Goswami describes the qualities of Rishabhadev. So Rishabhadev, he was self-controlled, fully independent, completely free from all the material miseries. Nitya Nivritarthaha. He was Atmatantraha. He was full of transcendental bliss. Kevala Ananda Anubhavaha. Then he was a supreme controller, Ishwaraha. He was equipoised, Samaha. He was undisturbed by the material senses, Upashantaha. He was friendly to everyone and equal to everyone and merciful to everyone. He was Maitraha and Karunikaha. So then, although Rishabdev, he was a supreme personality, but he acted like an ordinary jiva, strictly following all the principles of Varnashram, just to teach the ignorant public by his own example. So by his own example, he taught people how to maintain the religious activities, how to maintain the wealth, how to take care of the family, how to take care of the society, and ultimately how to attain the eternal life. Prabhupada writes in the purport, Varnashram Dharma is meant for imperfect, conditioned souls. If somebody is perfect soul, he does not have to follow Varnashram. But if somebody has anarthas, conditionings, imperfect, he has to follow the Varnashram system. Prabhupada writes, Varnashram system trains one to become spiritually advanced in order to return home back to Godhead. A civilization that does not know the highest aim of life is no better than animal society. But Bhagavatam teaches what is the highest destination. Nate vitu swartha gatim hi Vishnu. Then Shukdev Goswami himself says why Rishabdev acted in certain way. Because whatever action a great person does, common people, they follow. Then they say that, Shukdev Goswami says that although Rishabdev, he knew all the confidential Vedic knowledge, but as a Kshatriya, he wanted to establish a right example. So he followed all the Brahmanas. He followed whatever Brahmanas would say. One time devotees, they approached Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, in due course of time, after we, have influence of over all over the world, then we will make all the world a Krishna conscious kingdom and will make you the king. Prabhupada said, no, I'll not become the king. I'll become the spiritual master of the king. I'll teach the king. I will tell the king how to rule the kingdom. So therefore, Rishabdev also wanted to set a right example. Although he was Supreme Lord, but still he would go and take guidance from the Brahmanas. And then he satisfied Lord Vishnu by performing so many yagyas and the sacrifices. And a very interesting thing, which is described in the 17th verse, he says, it is described that this king Rishabdev, he satisfied Lord Vishnu by performing sacrifices according to the Vedic injunctions with proper ingredients at proper place and time with youthful and faithful priests. So Prabhupada, he elaborates on this word faithful and youthful priests. He says, this is Krishna consciousness. This is how a person should be trained from the beginning of his life, how to practice Krishna consciousness. Kaumaram acharet pragyo dharman bhagavataniha. A reporter came to Prabhupada and said, Swamiji, why all your followers are young people? So Prabhupada told him that, okay, what is the age for learning? So this reporter said, when somebody is young. Prabhupada said, that's why we are teaching this Krishna consciousness to all the young people. When Srila Prabhupada, he gave sannyas to Hridayanand Swami, a reporter, he came to know and came and attended the event. And then after the event, he asked Prabhupada, well, isn't it that old people take sannyas in India? Why are you giving sannyas to a young person? Prabhupada shot back. Prabhupada said, what does it mean to be old? And the man had no answer. Prabhupada said, old means about to die. Can you say that I am older than you? Can you say that you are not going to die before me? Prabhupada was very heavy. And the reporter could not say anything. Prabhupada said, therefore we are giving sannyas. So that was Prabhupada. So Rishabdev, he ruled every citizen with love and care, and he pleased and satisfied everyone. So then Shukdev Goswami says, once he was touring the world, and while touring the world, he reached Brahmavarta. So there at Brahmavarta, he arranged for an assembly of best of the Brahmanas and the sages, and he instructed his 100 sons. So Rishabdev had 100 sons. So at Brahmavarta, he had a huge assembly where he instructed the 100 sons on the principles of dharma and principles of devotion. So that is the beginning of the 5th chapter. So that will continue tomorrow. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. If anybody has any questions, they can put on the chat.